Darkest Dungeon, the second game in my 12 days of Hey Jay, was a game I had no idea what it was. I watched the trailers, I read the Steam page, I couldn't figure out what this game was, and while I had a lot of fun playing it, I don't think I'll be picking this one up again. Welcome back, Classic Crew, to another Hey Jay review as I share my thoughts on my first impressions experience with Darkest Dungeon, going from someone who knew nothing about it to someone who played it for 4 hours. It's the first thing that kind of made me go, will I like this, was, first of all, it's kind of dark theme. And despite my Dark Souls journey, I am not big into horror or dark themed games, but that actually is not the primary reason I'm not looking to replay this again. It's more the nature of roguelikes. I can only have so many roguelikes in my backlog because these games are all about repetition, learning, mastering, and then eventually overcoming a hurdle. It's the inherent mechanic of roguelikes are all about repetition and playing over and over again. And those are games that I usually only have one in my game rotation. If I have too many of them, I lose interest or I just don't progress enough, which results in me feeling like, what's the point of investing my time in this when I could be... But I can see the appeal of Darkest Dungeon for a lot of people because it is one of those games that offers something I haven't really seen in any other game. And if I have to explain it to someone as like, what is it? You know, now that I kind of know what it is, it mixes, I feel like it mixes elements of Dungeons and Dragons, RPGs, and roguelikes in a way I've never seen before. So I'm going to try to simplify it. You basically wander towards a manor that I think you inherited, and the whole goal of the game is to explore parts of the world before you get to the manor. So you assemble a team of heroes, and then you go and you explore all of these rooms in these in this manor, or the areas before the manor, like catacombs and stuff. And then you encounter enemies, you fight enemies, you find loot, and a lot of the times your heroes will die and you will lose a lot of heroes. And the whole point of the game is to make your way and progress by either not losing heroes, buffing up your heroes, finding better loot, and just generally getting better at the combat. And that's kind of the primary game loop, if you will. Now, the combat is not the type of game you would... this game is not the type of game where you are the hero, you are overpowered. If anything, it balances the enemies and you in a way that's equal. So if you like that aspect, which I see in Dark Souls, where you, the character... Actually, in Dark Souls, you're underpowered. The enemies are all overpowering you to some degree. Is that true? Yeah. I'm not sure anymore. Maybe you are on equal footing. In some cases. So anyways, in this game, in Darkest Dungeon, you're on equal footing. You have a team of 4 heroes, and you will oftentimes encounter groups of 3 to 5, maybe 3 or 4, let's say 4 enemies, and they can wipe you out just as easily as you can wipe them out if you do not use your skills and your items properly. Another major element of this game is stress. The more you play with your heroes, the more stress they get, or the more that things happen to them, they get stressed. And the more stress they get, they eventually start revealing these character flaws. Like some can steal, some can start nagging at your other heroes, stressing them out. And if you stress them even more, they can even get a heart attack and just die on you. You cannot get attached to your heroes. And the game kind of makes this clear really early on because your heroes will just oftentimes die, and you get a new group of heroes to join your crew every day, or is it every week? I think time passes every week. So every time you go on a mission, a week passes. And so the game pretty much, I think there's even a text that shows up early, and it's like, your heroes will die. That's okay. It's part of the game. Don't get attached to them. And so that, I think, is the first thing that is very different in this game. You just can't get attached to your heroes because they're going to die fast. And in fact, there's an accomplishment to like getting your hero to level 6, which I think is the max hero in the base, the max level in the base game, which is wild. So very much like Monster Hunter, you have to prepare yourself before you go in. You have to grab some torches, you have to grab some like healing items, some food, everything you might need. And that costs money. So you can't just go crazy and like get everything because you have a finite amount of resources you go into. Your torch is very important because your light is always going out as you're exploring these manors and these like regions. And the less light you have, the more stress your heroes get, and the more negative points you get. So basically your accuracy for your archers go down, you take more damage from enemies. So you always want to be keeping your light levels high, so you always want to have enough torches. So that's like another like thing to manage that is stressful. And then when you're, so you go from room to room, which is the part I think that reminded me a lot of D&D. The fact that on your map, you're exploring rooms and you don't know what's going to be in the room. It could be a trap. It could be a treasure. It could be a mob that will wipe you out. It could be like a super boss. Who knows? And that's a little bit of the excitement of, oh, what's in this room? What's in this room? So when you explore the smaller areas, it's safer because you don't have to like manage and ration your resources so much, because you just have to get through all the, there's less rooms to go through. Whereas when you're exploring a big room, you have to be a little bit more strategic in how you do that. You don't want to see necessarily every room, because that gives you a greater risk of having your party wiping out, which is not good. And then there's different elements of what you do when you go on these quests. Some of them are explore 90% of the rooms. Some of them are clear all the rooms of mobs. Some of them are kill the big boss. And in fact, after my 4-hour stream, I actually unlocked the level to go see the boss, but I actually was not able to fight the boss, just because one round, like one game session, like if you want to just play through one, it's a significant time investment. The boss one seemed like a big one. Everyone told me it was about a 30-minute run, and I just didn't have the time to do that, which is why I did not go and see the boss. For the most part, I think the shorter levels are maybe 10-15 minutes, and that's, it's great for those who just want a game with that RPG element that you don't have to be invested in so much in a story, where you can walk away from it for a week or two, come back and like, what's going on? You don't have to worry about that. You just go in, you get your party, you just play with the abilities you're given, and you don't get attached to them, because you're going to get a whole bunch of new heroes. And you oftentimes can't use the heroes week after week, because after trekking once, they're so stressed, you have to send them drinking or gambling or to the brothel so that they can de-stress, so you can use them again, and that takes another week. So it's all about managing your heroes, managing everything. So what I don't like about it is that it reminds me too much of my real life outside of content creation. I have to manage a lot of stuff. I am very stressed, and I go to video games to de-stress. And when I see too many elements that remind me of my actual life, I'm like, well, this is just more of the same. I'm not able to detach, which is the ultimate reason Darkest Dungeon is not a game I will be continuing, because it is too similar to my real life, outside of the whole undead stuff. But I do recognize it's a good game, unique mechanics. I'm glad I played it, because I can actually recommend this to some people now. And it's just so different than all the other games I've played. I love discovering these games and just seeing what the medium of video games can offer. And this one, I think, is a very interesting twist on some of the original game concepts we see out there. So if you are looking for a new roguelike with more RPG elements, this is a game you might want to check out. If you're looking for games that are a little bit more punishing, where you're not necessarily an overpowered hero, but that the enemies have just as much of a chance as wiping you as you have wiping them, this is a game you might want to check out. I'm not sure if it's on all platforms. I played it on Steam, so you can definitely find it there. And there's also a sequel, so I don't know if it's better or worse. I might have to check that out someday. Otherwise, I'll see you on another Hey J review, and until next time, keep it classy. Do 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 do. Subscribe.